Hello, yeah. Hi, welcome to this episode that has a number. I'm Maja. You can find me as sjomajlin online. I'm at Ravelry on Instagram and YouTube's. And this is Friday, and I don't even know what date it is. It might be, I think it's the 4th of September. And I just realized I didn't really finish eating the snack bar thing that I tried finishing before I started. Hey! So how are you? I hope everything is fine. And I am preparing some tea, just out of shot, as usual. Some habits are just too hard to break. Yeah, what have happened? Nothing really fancy have happened since I spoke to you last, I think. Nothing grand. I've been working and it's been going okay. I've been singing and driving around. Yeah, nothing fancy, really. Yeah, so yesterday I went to my parents' house to meet with some, and stop saying all the time, to meet with some friends of the family that were invited over to, well, mom's, because dad was away on a business trip. And that was lovely to see them. And then I was thinking I would do this in one order, and then I just thought maybe I should do it the other way around. Well, so as I were at my parents' house, I went up to the attic to search for a pair of crutches. But just one. What is that? Is that a crutch? Maybe I should have looked that word up. Well, anyway, I had a pair of crutches a couple of years ago when I broke a broke a bone in my foot. And we kept them, and a colleague of mine who is the acting and drama teacher had asked if anyone had a crutch that they could use in what's the word? In a show. In a show. And I said, yeah, I believe, I'm 99% sure that I can manage that. So I went up to the attic to look for them, and I found some other things, including this that I am wearing, which, because I've told you before, so I now have to tell you that I've been lying to you. Not on purpose. I've told you before, way back in some episode, I don't even remember, when I was talking a bit about how I got into knitting, that the first proper thing that I knitted, other than, you know, sort of a wonky scarf or something, was a pair of socks with proper heel flap and gusset heel and that sort of sock, which I honestly at that point thought was true. However, when I found this, I had forgotten about this, but I remembered it when I saw it. I remembered it. This must have been the first thing that I knit, because I believe this was in my early teens. So I popped it on. This is completely unblocked, so it is well, a slipover, I guess, with like a bit of a turtleneck, and there is a button and whatever this is called, so you can close it. And it is completely unblocked, because I didn't know about blocking at the time. So these edges roll, which makes, well, you can see, depending on what line you have underneath, it might look a bit silly. I am thinking that I will block this now, because now I know better. And it's also kind of short. Yeah, this angle wasn't very good. So I'm thinking I might be able to get it just a little bit longer as well if I block it. And it's... Excuse me. So this must have been like the first proper thing that I actually knit. And And let me take it off because it's kind of warm actually. It is, I don't know what yarn it is, but it is worked with 4 strands held together. So you can see there are 3 strands of this. It is darker than it shows up, but it isn't black. It is dark, like charcoaly gray, I guess. And this blue, almost like a denim-y blue, I guess it is if you see it by itself. And I guess it is something like, as I said, I don't remember what yarn it is, but it doesn't feel, excuse me, it doesn't feel like it's 100% wool, and it doesn't not feel like squeaky acrylic either, so I think it's some sort of blend, and it's probably not the most expensive yarn ever, but it is, you know, it's a good yarn. It's not that bad. So this is an historic FO that I found in the attic that I will reblock, or that I will block. But yeah, this might be, it might be 15 years ago that I knit this. Something like that. So it was fun finding this. As I said, I had forgotten about it. I saw it in a box or a bag and I was like, because I thought I saw the knit stitches, so I was drawn to it, and then I was like, it rings a bell. It rings a bell. So yes. And then I found some old books and some other old clothes and stuff on the attic as well that I brought with me. But it's not really, or it's not knitting related at all. So, but then my mom wanted she wanted me to take some of her finished objects with me. So when she was on in episode 48, she was working on a sweater for a nephew. Or her grandchild, my grandson, my nephew, and a shawl. And so she has finished them, so she asked me if I thought that you guys wanted to see it, and I said, yeah, I think they do. So she sent them with me yesterday so that I could show you. So first off is this sweater that she made. This is from a magazine, like a old ladies magazine. Oops, that was mean. No, but like a weekly magazine of, you know, crossword puzzles, handcraft patterns, and recipes. That sort of magazine. And it didn't really have a name. It was like striped sweater in moss stitch or something like that. But it is, as I said, it's a striped sweater in moss stitch. And so it is very stretchy with the moss stitch. The nephew who it's intended for is 7 years old. A bit confused there. So I'm guessing it's sort of a 7-year size. I don't really know. But it is squishy and lovely. So I think he will enjoy that. And she also made, so she was working on that when she showed it to you. And then she told you that she was also going to knit a hat. Given directions for in the same magazine. So she knit a hat in the same striped moss stitch, which is also very stretchy, so it is, I mean, it's big, but it's, I think it's gonna fit in. And so she did, so the pattern said, make a small yarn ball or tassel to attach the top. And so she said, yeah, I put the things over there for you in a plastic bag, so please take them when you're going home. And I was like, yeah, good. And so she said, and I put some yarn in there too, cause maybe I thought that if I put it there, maybe you will finish it, cause I don't know. So I might do some sort of tassel and attach it. So she sent the yarn with as well, and 1 yarn band, so a ball band, so I can tell you that this is Järbo Fuga yarn. I've knit with this yarn before, so if you think it sounds familiar, that's it. So it's a Swedish yarn, you can see that. And I have this huge basket in my lap right now, so I can't lean in closer. It's a 50% wool, 50% acrylic yarn, and it is not like squeaky bad acrylic at all. It feels really good. So I'm thinking that the slip over that I made, which is just over there, it might be very similar to this yarn, but I don't know that for sure. So yeah, imagine some sort of small tassel or yarn ball or pom-pom on top of that hat as well, and then a gorgeous nephew of mine in it. So she finished those, and then she also finished the shawl she was working on. So this is out of Gotland yarn, Gotland wool, that she bought on our vacation to Gotland last summer. And as she mentioned as well in the Öland episode, she doesn't usually pick a lot of colors. So and as I was saying, I am trying to get her to wear more colors, but this she picked totally on her own. So it is, I mean, it's a pretty muted heathery color, but it is still very colorful in a way. So she made a shawl that's huge. It's a triangular shawl. It's knit from the tip up, so the bind off row is very, very long. So if I do fold this over halfway lengthwise, it's still, I can't even get it in the shot. But if this arm is fully extended because there's a wall here. So it is my arm and torso width twice. And it's also pretty deep since it is triangular. It is pretty lofty, as you can see, and it is knit in garter. And along the edges there is these, what would you say, like eyelet rows? No. Yeah, I don't know what to call them. Do they show up, or how does it look? You can see that there is something going on there. So they run along the edges down to the tip, but since, as I said, you knit this from, and it's kind of hard to show, from the tip up with increases in each side. So these I don't even know what to call them, these holes. You do them, even though they run along the edges, you do them on every row, except for the very first few rows though. So yeah, I don't know actually how much yarn this is. It's not heavy at all. By the size of it, I would say it has to be more than 100 grams, but I'm not sure that it is, because it is very, very light and lofty. So you can see if I wrap it around me, it's way, it's way bigger than my wingspan, so it is huge. It's like a blanket to wrap yourself in, and it's 100% wool. So there is, and it's kind of halo-y, but it's not scratchy at all. But it has that, you know, wool tooth to it without being scratchy. So she did good. My mom did good. So she wanted to show you, or she wanted you to see them. And I've said to her that she can absolutely join me some other time to be on the podcast herself, but even though they live, well, we do actually live in different towns. They live in Huskvarna and I live in Jönköping, but it's like 10 or 15 minutes by car, so it's not far at all. But you know, it's always harder to get things organized when you're not under the same roof as we were when we were on vacation. So the thing is, you guys, I don't have any finished objects of my own this week. I did have, I know I have wool in my nose. I did have that prehistoric even, finished object, and then my mom's. But none of my own, which is fine. So I will, excuse me. I will go on to show you my works in progress. First off, I will show you in the bag that actually should have been larger. the shawl that I'm working on. It's the Frozen Leaves shawl, free pattern on Ravelry, in Madeleine Tosh lace in the colorway Sea Wash, I believe. And it is a lace pattern leaves, so it looks like ramen, you know. It doesn't look good until it will be blocked. Which is a triangular shawl as well. And it's growing. This is the top of it folded in half and stretched out to what it would be when it's blocked. Oh, come on. So it is twice my shoulder width and then some, because it's folded in half. And the rows are getting longer. I haven't counted the stitches, but there are quite a lot of stitches on here. So each row takes some time. And I'm thinking that I will knit. You know, I have quite some yardage left in this cake. And then there is another chart for the border. And I will make the border in this, which I think will look good. So this is drops, no, it's not drops, it's Cascade alpaca lace in a tealy colorway, so I think that will look really good. Last Friday, as I was cleaning my apartment, and I posted a picture of this to Instagram, yes, Instagram. This was laying right here on this is my kitchen table that I'm sitting at. And I was vacuuming and I don't really know what I was doing. Maybe there was like some breadcrumbs or something on the table. Anyway, I took the clean the floor part off of the vacuum and just had the tube. And I was, doing something on the table. And then I thought that I had this end had been in the vacuum cleaner, so I was like, in no rush to get it out, because yeah. And then I realized that no, the vacuum cleaner tube was attached between the project and the cake. The center pull very easily pulled from cake. So in some sort of panic, I just started, yanking the yarn out, which wasn't really working, and the camera just says something weird to me. I don't even know what that means, you guys. Let's see if I'll get this uploaded or what happens. So the yarn broke before I realized that I should, turn the vacuum cleaner off. And then I had to open it up and, pick the yarn out of, because this is not Tosh. You don't just throw that away. And then I had to detangle that and reattach. So it was a bit terrible, actually. Hey. So what the camera was telling me was that it was running out of space or memory. So I want to redeem myself. If you thought it was gross of me to pick the yarn out of the vacuum cleaner, I don't know, some people who have, pets or small kids or whatever, probably do vacuum up some less than nice things. In my vacuum cleaner it's mostly just hair and dust, really. Some popcorns maybe, and the odd bread crumble. So I picked it out and I held it tight and vacuumed the tangle. So it's not gross. It's just a little bit dusty. Okay? So that was my first work in progress. Now that I've cleared some space on the memory card in that camera. So someone had filmed a gazillion clips of some frisbee golf. It might be, the person who did that might actually be the owner of the camera, so I'm not gonna, shame him for that, but come on. they are gone now. My second work in progress is the twined knitting, the mitten, and I am picking up speed. I'm getting in to the rhythm of it, and I quite enjoy it. So last week I was only about, or just about to start this darker section. You can see there is actually some white in there too. So I've been working up. I've been doing a thumb gusset, and I put those the thumb stitches on some scrap yarn, and I cast on some new ones. And now I'm working up the palm of the hand. So you can see the thumb gusset. It just has increases on the one side, so this just continues, and then you can see the line there. And then the back of the hand, you can start to see the pattern. So it's, I don't know, it's not exactly flowers, but I think of them as flowers anyway. So, and it is a bit tight. So the patterns in the book are designed, because twine knitting should be really tight. And so she writes about this in the book as well, that she has designed the stitch counts in that book for not knitting too tightly. Oh, because as a beginner you might not be able to knit very tight. So I'm guessing that I'm actually, in some weird way, because I'm usually a loose knitter, but in some weird way I'm probably knitting this tighter, because it is quite tight on me, and I don't have... My hands are large rather than small, but I don't have big hands, you know? But that's how it's working up. So the thumb gusset fits really nicely, and you can see the line there, and these flowery bits or whatever. So I'm thinking, because I tried measuring what's left of the pattern, or it's a chart. So I'm thinking, I'm not completely sure actually that it will be enough, but if it's not, I will just add some of this as well, the regular striping for the top part before I do the decrease it, so it's not, you know, it's not a big deal at all. So, and the yarn is a bit halo-y, if you see that. So and very, very tight with the twine knitting, because you do twist the yarns over each other between each stitch. So these will be extremely warm in the winter. So you can see this is the back side. So it's not only the purl bumps, but it's also the twist of the yarn between each stitch. And then you can see this is where the pattern is. You can see that there is a difference in the back as well. So yeah, as I said, I'm picking up speed and I'm feeling the rhythm of it. It is slower still, with the twisting and with the throwing, because I'm not usually a thrower. But it's nice. I'm enjoying it. And I've said before, and I stick to it, magic loop is not my preferred method. I really do like working with... Excuse me. Ooh. Sorry. I really do like working with DPNs, double pointed needles. But I think for this type of projects, magic loop is actually better, because you get fewer interruptions in the rhythm, I guess. So that is my second work in progress. And then I have a third work in progress, which I showed you last week. I had pretty much only just cast it on. This sweater, which is knit out of Loopy Einband or Einband, which is an Icelandic yarn. I didn't tell you what this was. This is some Öland wool that is sed-plied. I've shown you it before, and I've told you before, but for any new viewers. Yes, so I had only just cast this on pretty much last week, as I showed it to you. I am knitting this. This is a sweater that I'm knitting top down. with this, I don't even know what you call that thing for the top. So last week I was working it flat, and I said that I would join it in the round a bit later. So I did that, and it's a raglan, or there are raglan increases, and I've divided or separated for the sleeves, and I am that far below the arm bit. And the thing, and I've also posted this to Instagram, a picture of it when I tried it on. Most of you guys have reacted with horror, more or less, to this thing that I am doing. The easiest way to show you is right here. There are drop stitches on purpose. I am inspired by the sweaters worn in Matrix, the movie, the first movie, where it's sort of big, bulky-ish sweaters knit with not super bulky yarn, but the sweaters are, you know, biggish, boxy. And there are drop stitches that runs, and I think it looks really, really cool. So I wanted to do something like that, and that is what I'm doing. All the stitches that I'm planning on dropping are prepared, or, well, prepared with a yarn over, and then I knit up that column, and then I drop that stitch, you know, so many rows later. So they are not running uncontrolled. So there is another, and here I put a marker because I think I'm working on, this is going to be a very long one, so I wanted to make sure that I would find it. And in some places I've just done, you can see there, for an example, it's a shorter one, and then in some places, so there, for example, I've just done some yarn overs and then continued knitting to make, you know, sort of a, well, holes as a pattern. So yeah, I really enjoy this so far. It's fun to knit, and I think it's going to work up great. And I just dropped a stitch. Got it. So I'm working this on 3mm needles, and you can see that the yarn is quite thin, even compared to the needles, if I show it to you like that. So it is not a super tight fabric, as you also can see. It will wash and bloom a bit. So this is my swatch. So it's still very airy, the fabric, but I think that this will be very good. So, well, in winter time here in Sweden, it's obviously freezing cold, but we do, most of the time it's, you know, pretty warm inside anyway, so it's kind of hard to dress, because when you go outside you will freeze, and then if you put a lot of clothes on before, you know, leave for work in the morning, you'll have to either sweat a lot, or you'll have to, you know, adjust your clothing several times during the day. So if you wear like a heavy, thick sweater to keep warm when you're outside, you won't be able to wear it indoors. So I think a sort of a thinner sweater like this will be really good, because it will keep you warm but not hot. Today I'm drinking a green tea, by the way, with lemon. I don't have lemon in it, but the green tea is flavored with lemon. So yeah, that's coming along. I'm almost done with the first bowl. Yeah, I'm liking it. And then, oh, excuse me, my legs. I'm trying to sit on them, like sit on them, and then it hurts. I did cast on a new thing as well, out of Drops Fabel, or Drops Fable, if you will, in this mustardy yellow color, on size 2mm needles. And this is how far I got, so this is not far at all. But you can see that I cast on fewer stitches that I have than I have now. I can't speak. So I've increased in each side. So this is going to be a knee cozy, or knee warmer. My brother has some problem with his joints, especially in the winter time. So he asked me if I could knit something for him to try, because he can't wear these, you know, there are these sort of tubes that you can pull on your knees or your elbows or whatever, you know, sort of for training or working out, that will help keep the joint stable. He absolutely cannot wear them because they press on the kneecap and that hurts him. So he was thinking that maybe I could knit him something that wouldn't be that tight, but would hopefully still be, you know, hanging on and helping keep the joints warm. So this is going to be a test, and I'm thinking that, because you might want to have it lower on the back of the knee and then wider or higher on the front of the knee. So I am knitting this, I'm increasing and then I'm gonna knit straight for the front of the knee and then decreasing. And then I'm thinking that I will knit, so then it's stretchy, you know, when you bend the knee. And then I'm thinking I will pick up stitches and knit the other way and decrease on each side so that I decrease the stitches, so I'm knitting up and joining the two sides together. Am I making any sense? And that way it will be stretchy around, you know, at the back of the knee, so maybe that will help it sit nicely around the knee. So this is an experiment, maybe it'll work out, and if it does I'll knit another one, but we'll see. I'm slowly working on it. I started it yesterday. So those are my works in progress this week. So the other day I went into my yarn store. My local yarn store, there are a few yarn stores, but the one that is the easiest, that I find the easiest to get to, is not the one that is closest to me, but it is like 10 minutes by car, so it's not far. But it is easier to get there, I think, than to the one that is closer to me. It is something like Sweden's largest yarn store, or Northern Europe's, or something like that. The store itself is pretty large. In Sweden we don't really have this tradition as it seems like you have, at least in America, where in pretty much all the yarn stores you have a sitting area where you can sit and knit. Newer yarn stores usually have something like that, but traditionally we don't really do that. So and traditionally yarn stores aren't really big here, because we don't, the thing with, you know, classes and things like that isn't really tradition here. So it's pretty much just, you know, the yarn store that is the yarn store. We don't have all those areas connected to the yarn shops, if I'm making any sense. So this yarn store of mine that is like my LYS, it's big. The store itself is big. It has, well, it's mostly yarn, but then it has quite a large section of embroidery as well, like Ada cloths and embroidery floss and things like that. They have kind of a large section with buttons and ribbons and things like that. They have needles and hooks and notions, and they do have some sewing. They don't have fabrics or sewing machines or anything like that, but do have sewing threads and needles and those sort of sewing notions as well, and yeah, some patterns and stuff, but it's mostly just yarn, or just most of it is yarn, and it's packed with yarn, and they have everything. They have so much acrylic and acrylic blends, and they have some fancier stuff too. They have some really fancy stuff, but it's packed with yarns everywhere. The shelves are pretty tightly together, so it's not, you know, it's not a lot of air to breathe in there, and there are all the colors. And then they have knitted samples of like scarves and vests and bags like hanging from the ceiling. And in this one area they have, is it like 4, I think, mannequins? Like these sort of weird looking mannequins, you know, with like crazy hairdos and crazy makeup. Wearing, well, not the most stylish, I would say, knitted garments in all the crazy colors. Yeah, if that is the reason why I prefer shopping for yarn online, actually, because this store is, they have so much yarn, which is good, but it's also overwhelming. I get dizzy when I go there. Sometimes that can be sort of inspiring as well, because as I said, they do have a lot of nice things too. And sometimes if I don't really know, I can just, you know, go there and breathe some fumes. But yeah, it's an interesting yarn store for sure. So I needed to get a new tape measure. I have tape measures, but I used to have one of these, you know, that gives centimeters on the one side and then inches on the other side, which is really good to have when, because we do centimeters, but then I do use some patterns where it gives inches, and it's, you know, it's just a pain to recalculate, and yeah, so it's good to have. So I did have one of these, but the join with this, with the whatever this is called, and the tape broke because it was worn through, because I've had it for a long time. So the tape just whooshed inside of the little whatever it's called. So I needed to get a new one of these. So I got there and got this, which is sort of, the one that I had before had a little button on it and you clicked it and the tape measure would go up again. This is sort of like a blind, you know. You'll pull on it and it will go. So I've been, you know, just sitting doing this. Well, so as I said, I visited my LYS, my local yarn store, and they have this store area, or the store, and then they have this carts of yarn that that don't fit in the store, so they put them outside. So, oops. This is, and they fit so neatly in this basket. So this is Drops Alaska, which is 100% wool, and it is 50 grams per ball, and that is 60 meters. So it's it's a heavier yarn. Suggested needle size is 5 millimeters. So it's a bit thicker. And it was, I got these 2 colors, 5 of each, because it was 5 skeins for 100 kronor, which is about 10 euros, which is something like, what is it, 13 US dollars, maybe 14, something like that. So all of this was 200 kronor. Yeah, you're not judging me, I know that. I did not intend to buy yarn because I do have yarn. I don't need any more yarn, but what you gonna do, you know? What you gonna do? I was innocent. Well, anyway, that's the yarn and the fiber stuff. I haven't done any spinning this week, and well, I've been mostly knitting, really. I mentioned that we met with some friends of the family yesterday. And so I do have a favorite thing of the week this week that I pretty much haven't tried yet, but it seems really cool. So the son of the family, that is like the friends of the family, he's my age. It's like, I think he's like 3 weeks older than me or something like that. he or they, that family lives in like the smallest little, I don't even know what to call it, it's not a village, but, well, I mean, it's not far to the closest city, but they live in a very small, little tiny place. And so he was like, nah, not doing this. So he moved to New York, so lives in Manhattan, and he works for Spotify, as one does. So he told us that they had just recently launched something that he had been working on. That was just launched for, or it's just available at the moment for iPhones. So I did look at it on my job phone or my work phone. So if you have Spotify on your phone, you can choose in the what's it called? Like in the menu, you can choose running. And then the phone will detect what speed you're running at. Not your speed, but your pace, I guess is the word. Like steps per minute, beats per minute, you know? And it will choose music for you in the same pace. So then you can choose either to pick songs from your playlists in the right speed, or you can choose like from their recommended song playlists. And I haven't run with it yet, but I had a play with it on my work phone and it seemed brilliant, really. So I was like, I knew the guy who did this! And it seemed really cool, so that is one of my favorite things this week. And this, which I obviously can't leave alone, sorry. I'll put my hands behind my back. So do check that out if you have an iPhone and you have Spotify, because that seemed really cool to me. Yes. Thing is, I only had some hard bread sandwiches for lunch today because I wasn't feeling like eating at all. And now it's almost getting on to 6 in the afternoon. So I sort of need to let you guys go now so that I can get some food. So do take care of yourselves. I do hope you have a nice week. Oh, the Smile Cal. The Smile Cal is on. There is at least one entry other than my entry under the hashtag SmileCal on Instagram. I've talked about this last week. There are all the details, but just for short, I'm calling it a cal as in knit along, but you are free to do any sort of craft, preferably something yarny, I would say, but I'm calling it a cal just because it's a good word. Excuse me. It's open from now until the closing date is the Friday the 13th of November. The idea is to make something to help you smile in the fall. That might be something for yourself, or it might be a gift, or it might be, you know, your favorite pattern or your favorite color, or something intricate to keep your mind focused, or something mindless to help you relax, or it might be, you know, anything. And yeah, someone asked me as well, is the cal only going to be on Ravelry or Instagram? And I answered that those seemed like the most obvious places to me, so that's why I was thinking of them. But I am open to suggestions. Do you want something else? Please let me know and we'll try to make it happen. I will open up threads in the Ravelry group as well for sharing. I haven't done it yet. I'm so bad at updating things on Instagram or on Ravelry. If you're very eager to post something in a thread, please start a thread if you want to. The group is sjomajlin group. It's not a very active group, so you don't have to, you know, feel as though you really have to participate there. But if you want to join in, please feel free to do that. Otherwise, please use the hashtag SmileCal if you're sharing on Instagram. Yeah. So the thing of the cal is that it's kind of, you know, loose in the edges. I don't really have super strict rules, so just join in and it'll be good, I think. The amazing Benjamin Crudwig has offered some of his patterns up to a value of $10 for the price pot. There will also be giftable Ravelry patterns from me in the price pot, but I am, you know, just awaiting a little bit to see how much participation there will be, so that if there is more than I sort of think there will be, I will add something else in there as well. Benjamin Crudwick also has some free patterns. He has free patterns and paid for patterns. He has knits patterns and has crochet patterns. So check him out if there is something out of his stuff that you want to make for the account. It doesn't have to be though, you can do, you know, whatever. As long as it makes you smile in some way. Yeah, so please share on Instagram if you're working on something that it makes you smile. And now I need to get some food. I'll talk to you next time. Do take care and be kind to yourselves and to one another. And